Hey, YouTube, what's up, man? It's Joe D. hey, anyway, I am actually just having some coffee right now in my Krispy Kreme cup, of course. Mm. But I was answering some emails, and finally, sometimes I just kind of get behind in that sort of stuff. But in any case, I was answering some emails, and I came across a pretty interesting one from PWR, which I think is Powerlifter 69 on YouTube, and he had some questions about trucking. He realizes he knows I'm a truck driver, so he had some questions, and I thought it would be I thought it would be good to put out a little video and try to answer some of these questions the best that I can, instead of just sending him an email. In case some of you guys also have questions, I'll read it to you. I have a question for you. How do you go about becoming a trucker? I would love to do it, but I can't seem to get all the answers I need from people. What kind of hours do you work, as well as do you have to take a course, or can you just get a license, or what? Anything you could tell me would help. Thanks so much. I you do put in a lot of hours as a truck driver, depending on what kind of trucking you're doing. Now, anymore, for me personally, I've kind of gotten way away from actually driving. What the hell is going on here? Let me see. A little adjustment here. Yeah. Okay. I have actually gotten way away from driving. I don't drive that often anymore. All I actually do anymore is just unload the trucks. I just kind of work local. I am a union driver, so a union guy, so anymore I just kind of work the dock, unload, and just drive here and there. I've gotten myself enough seniority to where I don't necessarily have to drive all the time. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? As far as like a negative towards driving, it's not. It's just me personally. I just like to work my 8 hours anymore. I've driven since '94, so I just kind of like to work my 8 hours and go home. It seems like anytime you drive, you're going to work longer hours. And then I'm not used to. I hate to do this, but I'm not used to the new hours of service rules. I drove over the road under the old service rules, and so I'd hate to misguide you on some of these things. I think that you can work. I think it's 12 or 14 hours a day. As far as local work, I know some of the guys will work at least 12 hours a day, pretty much 5 days a week, and then they take their 2 days off, and then they come back and do it again. Over the road, I really can't tell you anymore. I really don't have. I haven't been that much in touch with over the road like I used to. I do know that you do, in order to get your CDL, it helps to go to some sort of formal training, whether that be some sort of junior college, usually, some sort of smaller local colleges will have sometimes a truck driving course. I know here locally we have one called C&M. They have a little truck driving course that you can take. I think through them, I think it's a little cheaper, but it takes a lot longer. You get a lot better training. I think it's 6 months, if I remember right, through them. Or some companies offer truck driving training. Usually 4 to 6 week range. They'll offer you some sort of training. At the end of it, I think you either have to agree to, I don't know how they do it anymore, but this is how they used to do it, that you used to have to agree to work for them for so long. It might be a year or 2 years, something like that. They might do it now to where they just flat sign a contract with you and you're kind of committed to a certain amount of money. Because I know a lot of guys used to just agree to work for a company for so long and then never follow through. I mean, you'd work for them till your training was done, then book, and then they'd send you a bill every month for what you owe them on that truck driving school. But that's it's kind of the way a lot of guys will get their licenses. Just go to work for like a big company like Swift or something like that, get their training they need, and then if they don't necessarily like Swift, they'll kind of move on to something else. But you will need some sort of help some way, even if you do just kind of try to go about it yourself and try to get your license on your own, like to get your permit. You can go get that ahead of time, study. They have a book you can study and take all your written stuff and kind of get that out of the way. And if you actually know someone with the truck, then I suppose you could, once you get your permit, have them teach you and go about getting your license that way. I know here in this state, I think every state might be a little different, but I know here in New Mexico, I know you'd have to have a truck to even test with if you were to try to go about it that way. You'd have to know someone with the truck and is willing to train you. They're probably going to want something from you. You're probably going to have to unload some loads or do something because, that more than likely if they own a truck, that's how they're making their living. So they usually maybe barter with you somehow like that. Of course, that's after you have your permit. That's that can be a hard way to go too. But that is definitely another way. And then once you go to the motor vehicle and once you feel comfortable that you can do it, then they'll give you their test. And then if you finish the test with flying colors, then they'll give you your license, your CDL. But most people generally go to some sort of formal truck driving school, whether that be on their own and just pay out of pocket, or go to a company that's willing to train you. I'm gonna send you over to an online friend of mine, truckersteve.org. Oh wait, truckersteve.tv. Okay, I'll send you to his blog, and he's got a lot of general trucking information and stuff like that. And then there's also another online trucking friend of mine, Big Cat Trucker. You look him up on YouTube. He recently went through the whole process. I think he might still drive for Swift. I'm not sure, but that's who he got his training through, was Swift. And you might check out his channel on YouTube, Big Cat Trucker. He recently went through all this whole process and is now, he might be driving trucks for about a year now. He's been at it a little while, so you might direct some of those questions towards him, since he recently went through all this. I really don't know anymore. I know that once you do get in it, if you decide to go over the road, it's a big commitment. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of these companies, at least they used to. When I was on the road, I used to stay out 4 to 6 weeks at a time. It sounds to me like from some of the guys that I still talk to that they might be getting a little better at that, maybe 2 to 3 weeks at a time. But still, for some people, that's a long time away from home if you're not used to it. But you can make some decent money. Your first year's not going to be as good as the next year and the next year, but once you get another, a couple years under your belt, you'll be able to make some decent money. And then once you go from there, then there's you could see if over the road is for you, or if you just want to do local or whatever. There's a lot of different options out there in trucking, and one thing's for sure. During the 9/11 crisis, during this recent crisis that we had, this economic downturn, in both instances, I have always been able to have a job, always been able to stay employed. So, you always need truck drivers. So, I've always had a job. I've never been without a job since I've had my CDL. So, knock on wood. Okay. But trucking's been good to me. It's allowed me to raise my family and my wife's family, and and afford a few little luxuries here and there. So, um, I can't complain. I love trucking. I love trucking as much as I do beer, and as much as I love photography and everything else, man. Trucking's my base. That's everything I know. Diesel's in my blood. That's all I know. So, without trucking, to tell you the truth, I really don't know what I do. I mean, I love my photography, but I'm not able to make a living off it just yet. Maybe down the road. We're headed that way. We're starting this small, and we're building an income slowly, but it's taken a while. We're just getting our feet wet here with photography. But the beer is a hell of a hobby. It's been really good to me as well. It's a lot of fun, but trucking is my base. That's where I make my living, and uh, you know, all the luck to everybody that decides to get into trucking. Um, so that's all I've got, which was a lot, but a lot of talking. But you guys take it easy, man. We'll see you next time. And good luck to you, man, and whatever you decide to do. Laters.